Sheila, I'm sorry to interrupt your show. I know you were going to do the live stream today, but I've got some emergency news. I wanted to jump right in and share with you. I haven't even had the chance to talk to staff about it. I want to share it with our viewers, and I want to share it with the world. So forgive me for barging into the live stream like this.
Hey, I'm learning with everybody else, so I'm sure our viewers will have a lot to say as soon as they learn the news.
Moments ago, we received a form of litigation called a trademark dispute. Rebel News, as you know, for several weeks has been criticizing the false campaign by Tim Hortons to mislead Canadians that they are abandoning temporary foreign workers. You may have seen there's been this PR campaign by Tim Hortons to rebrand themselves as Canadian, hiring Canadians, Canadian values. And I was actually very excited when I first heard about that, but I noticed a few strange things. They talked about hiring 10,000 locals, but local is not an immigration status. And I thought, why would they say locals instead of hiring Canadians? And one of our teammates went online to the government's official temporary foreign workers page, where you have to list the jobs you are seeking from foreigners. And around 90, it goes up and down every day because Tim Hortons, more Tim Hortons are advertising every day, but it's around 90 on any given day. 90 different Tim Hortons locations are still advertising right now for foreign workers. So they're lying. So as you can see on the screen, we took our big, beautiful billboard truck and we went to talk about it, to talk to Tim Hortons workers and the public. And then they sent us a legal threat. Olivia, can you put that legal threat on the screen for people to see? Because we were doing journalism, including streeters. You know what a streeter is, Sheila? We just asked, like, man on the street, what do you think? Should Tim Hortons hire Canadians or foreigners? They sent us this letter about a week ago saying that if we set foot, not just in their restaurant, but in their parking lot, on their lawn, on their drive-through, that, yeah, scroll down a little bit. I want to show what they threaten to do. In the event that the above is violated for any reason, we will report the trespass to police and pursue all available remedies, including charges under applicable act and civil action. No further warning will be given, and you will be advised to govern yourself accordingly. So they're basically saying if we keep doing what we're doing, they're going to sue us. Well, obviously, we don't take kindly to big, thuggish, foreign-owned billionaire companies who prefer to hire foreign slave laborers rather than to give Canadian kids a chance. We don't roll over. I mean, hey, buddy, Google Rebel News if you want to know how this one's going to end. You can probably guess. So we had that threat letter that we received last week, and our response was to go and do more journalism. Alexa Lavoie went to a Tim Hortons. Tamara Ugolini went to a Tim Hortons. I went to a Tim Hortons. David Menzies went to a Tim Hortons. And I'm not going to tell any others because there's some underway.
Yep.
So I was feeling pretty good about freedom of the press and our duty to inform the public. And it's such a BS. Hey, call up the Financial Post. You know, Sheila, it's so gross. Tim Hortons is a major advertiser. So they're basically saying to any newspapers that they advertise in, you'd better write nice things about us or we're going to boycott you. See if you can find that Financial Post piece where they say Tim Hortons has the right to hire foreigners and we shouldn't care. It's so crazy. Anyhow, that's all preamble. Sheila, I haven't told you the news.
Tell me. I can't wait to hear it.
In the last, give me 30 seconds first. Here it is. Keep out of Tim Hortons hiring choices. Business satisfies social obligations by providing the best products at the lowest prices. It should stick to that. I don't know if a Timbit wrote this, but it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, imagine saying companies have no social obligations. There's no moral obligation to hire Canadians. Yeah. We should use government money to subsidize their cheap. Like, that is so gross.
Do you know what? I went through that article last week on the show, I think on Thursday, and they try to make the case for the free market in there, but it's definitely not the free market when the government is importing a bunch of foreign slave labor.
Yeah, I mean, Matthew Tao, a.k.a. Matthew Timbit, I hope he got... a nice paycheck for that infomercial. Anyhow, that's the PR campaign that Tim Hortons is doing. We're here to tell the other side of the story. That's literally our motto. And one of the fun things we do, Sheila, is we have T-shirts. And so we started selling these T-shirts. Olivia, can you put them on screen? They're pretty simple. They just say, make Tim Hortons Canadian again. Now, I want to be honest. I don't want to criticize the team, but I don't really like this because it is too friendly. Hey guys, make Tim Hortons Canadian. I don't want to make them anything. I'm not their owners. I'm not their managers. I'm certainly not their customer. I just want them to hire Canadians again or shut up. So make Tim Hortons Canadian again is frankly not critical enough for me. I'm not trying to put any shade on our team. I don't even know who did this on our team. I'm glad they did it. But frankly, I looked at that, I thought, that's pretty friendly. And I was saying to the team, maybe we need to, make it a little more butch. But today, this fairly friendly, would you say this is friendly? Like, this is a hopeful T-shirt.
It's helpful. It's helpful. I don't want to help them.
It's hopeful. It's positive. And it's sort of like a friendly criticism. It's like saying, hey, you got some spinach in your teeth. Like, it's friendly. And I'm not really feeling friendly to these guys because I just read you their threat letter. So today, not 1 hour ago, because we got the letter and then I immediately called our trademark lawyer. I took a little bit of trademark law in law school, but it's been 20 years. I really don't know it. So I confirmed that we are on solid ground. And let me tell you why, and then I'm going to show you what they're trying to do to us, this big bully, this Brazilian-owned Tim Hortons. Did you know that Tim Hortons is owned by a foreign company? It's so funny how they try and mislead everyone. Anyways, here's the thing about trademark law, and I say this as someone who owns several trademarks. I own Rebel News as a trademark. I own, if you can believe it, Make Canada Great Again. I have a few trademarks. The goal of trademark law, Sheila, is so that the market is not confused. There was a leading case in Canada about Louis Vuitton, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe it was, maybe I'm mixing it up with the name of a fancy French champagne. Yeah, that's what I'm, Veuve Clicquot, that's right. So the thing about trademark law, Sheila, and let me tell you this in case you're thinking of doing any, you can't mislead customers. You can't say, I am actually Tim Hortons, so pay me because you actually think I'm Tim Hortons. That is confusing the market, passing yourself off as Tim Hortons or Veuve Clicquot is the famous case. Our T-shirt obviously doesn't pretend to be Tim Hortons. Now, I think we should be more critical, which, by the way, would make it even more evident that we're not Tim Hortons. But I just got off the phone 20 minutes ago with our trademark lawyer who says we are on strong ground. But Tim Hortons is having a midlife crisis. They're having a total crash out. I've never seen a corporation lose their shit like this. Like, they are going bananas. I've just never seen a company. Brothers, Google Rebel News and you will see that this is not going to end the way you think it's going to end. We do not bend the knee because some big bully says, you can't talk about us. You can't talk about us or we'll sue you. We'll call the police on you. We'll say, hey, bring up the video of the police they called on Tamara Ugolini. Tamara Ugolini, 5'0", mother of 5, does a little news story, and they called the police on her, Sheila.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And she's as gentle as a lamb. Now, she's assertive, but she's no David Menzies. And they went after her, calling the cops on little old Tamara.
They literally called the police on her for standing on the sidewalk and doing journalism. Look at that. The OPP, now I'm not sure if that was her event or is David's. We've done so many of these.
That's hers.
There she is. Put up the volume.
Or anything like that. So we're just out here asking people if they think that Tim Hortons should hire temporary foreign workers or prioritize Canadians first. So getting a lot of good feedback on that.
Thanks. I'm not going to make a comment, but the owner is on their way just to check things out because I think people from in the store are calling in. So we just want to make sure things stay that way and that you're not coming onto the property and videoing people on the property. And if they ask you to leave the property, then you do need to leave.
Yes, of course. Yeah, and I think I'm not sure where the property line ends exactly, but we've been pretty much like here the whole time.
If you step on, you can't go on the property, but if you're on the sidewalk, I can't stop you from doing that.
Yeah, we have a limited
truck in the background there,
store.
Sheila.
Beautiful. Just cutting laps.
Oh, there's our shirt. Make Tim Hortons Canadian again. Now, I think we need to be more critical. I think we need to be a little bit more rough and tumble with Tim Hortons. I think make them Tim Canadian. I'm not, listen, whoever on our team make it, I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying we can do better. Good first effort.
Let's get rougher.
That's right. So anyhow, like I say, they threatened us to call the cops. They called the cops. They threatened to sue us in civil court. Now, maybe that's on its way. I haven't seen it yet. They threatened to press criminal charges. For what? Being skeptical of your donuts or something? They banned David Menzies for life from Tim Hortons. I don't think David Menzies goes to Tim Hortons. I think he's a McDonald's guy like me.
He's a McDonald's man.
Yeah, me too. But one of the things, so we are selling that shirt on rebelnewsstore.com. So out of the blue, we get a letter from Shopify, which is our online store. Everyone's heard of Shopify, great Canadian success story. They're really good guys. And so let me read a little bit. We just got this today. Notice, products on Rebel News are at risk of being suspended. We have received a trademark notice claiming that content on your Shopify store, Rebel News, is infringing on another company or person's intellectual property rights. You can view the reported products in your admin and respond to the claims made in the notice using this form. If we don't receive a valid response from you in 2 days, the content reported in the notice will be removed from your store. Shopify has a policy of terminating stores for repeat infringement, such as when multiple notices of alleged infringement are received. And then there's a ticket number there. Scroll down a little bit more. And then let's just show this next part here. So they're just, go up a little bit more so we can say, trademarks. What is the trademark? The brand name Tim Hortons, terminate jurisdictions. So they own the brand in the U.S., in Australia. So they're basically claiming the whole world. You can see Canada is on there in the bottom right, the Canadian Intellectual Property Office. Scroll down a little bit more. And go up there. Declarations, I have a good faith belief that the use of the content in the manner complained of is not authorized by the trademark owner, its agent, or the law, blah, blah, blah. So Tim Hortons has complained to Mummy, has run to the teacher, and said, teacher, they're being mean to us. I guess their plan A of calling the cops on us, well, the cops responded, but they said, you're doing nothing wrong, so keep at it. So now they're trying to get our Shopify listings deleted. And you saw there, Shopify says that if we don't do what they say, theoretically our store could be nuked. And obviously we have to make a living here. But like I say, trademark law is not designed to be a slap strategic litigation against public participation. Trademark law is not designed to silence criticism. It's designed to stop what happened in the Veuve Clicquot case. So I said Louis Vuitton earlier, it's Veuve Clicquot. When someone was trying to pretend they were Veuve Clicquot to sell luxury items. That's not what's going on here. No one in their right mind would think Rebel News is Tim Hortons. We criticize them. We spar with them. We shine a lot of public scrutiny.
We're boycotting them.
Yeah, we're boycotting them. So we've lawyered up, and we're going to have our legal response on time. I'll share that with you later with the world. I mean, we only got this complaint an hour ago, but I did talk to the lawyers. They're busy beavering away. And the main thing, Sheila, and this is why I did that call before coming on the live stream, is I wanted to make sure my memory of trademark law from law school is sharp, and it is. You can say things like Tim Hortons sucks. Mm-hmm. You can even use their image to criticize it when people obviously know that you're not them. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make lemons into lemonade. That's sort of the Rebel way. So these thin-skinned bullies, these cry bullies, these threateners, these anti-Canadian censors, these thugs, well, they don't like our super friendly Make Tim Hortons Canadian Again shirt? Okay. Well, let's try out 10 other designs that they may like, or that are extra clear that they're not from India. Let's do 10 more shirts. Let's do ball caps. Let's do stickers. Let's do everything you can imagine. And if these Brazilian bullies, I'm calling them Brazilian bullies because 3G, the hedge fund that owns them, is based in Brazil. If they think that they are going to stop our journalism by threatening to sue us, by calling the police on us, by threatening to have our store taken down, they are going to get a lesson in what the old Ricky Lake would call an audience attitude adjustment. And I think that Tim Hortons thugs and their thuggish lawyer boss, who I wrote a very friendly letter to last week asking him what his shirt size was. I asked him, I said, I assume it's a men's large. Let me know. Love to send you one. Friendly.
Right.
And he responds with a trademark litigation threat. Sheila.
I know, maybe you came on too strong.
I know. You know what? It has been said. It
Yes.
has been said. I was love bombing him.
So this is how you get more of us.
Yeah. Make Tim Hortons Canadian again. Hey,
It's so gentle.
folks, I can think of three things to do. One is obviously get the
Buy the
shirt
shirt.
before it's banned. Right?
Yes. Yes.
Even though I've criticized it as not being critical enough, it is what got the goat. So it got their goat, get the shirt. Step one,
Yep.
go to rebelnewsstore.com and get the shirt. Step two, if you haven't already done so, sign our petition at timsboycott.com. And number three, you know what happens when I call lawyers. I get so excited. I love talking about the law. It's like I'm back in law school, my happy place. And then I get the bill. So
Yeah.
if you can help me a little bit, actually the lawyer we're using is a great law firm. I'm not going to say which firm it is because they probably, they probably like the fact that their work for us is low key. But we are going to respond to them and through our lawyers. And if you can help me cover the cost of that, please go to timsboycott.com. So Sheila, Tim Hortons has so far, I sent them 17 questions by email last week. 17 real, can you call those up? Do you have those, Olivia? I want to show you some of the 17 questions I asked. And instead of answering them, they threatened our store. And they were so, by the way, I asked them the questions in person when I went to the Tim Hortons near our office here. They refused to answer. I said, this ad is from your store. Did you put it up? I can't answer that. Well, obviously that means you did then if you won't deny it. Like, who else put up the help wanted ad for your store? It could only be you. Anyways, so we are doing real journalism here, even if the Financial Post had a Timbit write a bit of a love letter to Tim Hortons. That was super gross. I was sort of surprised. But then again, I remember that Post Media probably gets millions of dollars a year from Tim Hortons. Here's some of my questions. I won't read too many of them, but here's a few. Can you make it slightly bigger, Olivia? How many temporary foreign workers does Tim Hortons have? I mean, can we start with the basics, right? How many other foreign workers, such as international students or refugees, does Tim Hortons have? Given that your marketing heavily uses the Canadian flag, do you think you're misleading Canadians? When you recently indicated that you were looking to hire 10,000 local workers, what did you mean by local? That's not an immigration status. Did you mean citizens or permanent residents? If so, why didn't you say so? 4, at least 90 Tim Hortons locations are still looking to hire temporary foreign workers, according to the government website. Some of these jobs are entry-level positions and some are manager positions. How can you reconcile this with your public statement to hire local? Anyways, it goes on. Scroll down. I want to prove to people I came up with 17 real questions. Here's the last one. If Dunkin' Donuts hires Canadian workers, are you worried that they will have a competitive advantage? If so, why don't you preempt them now by doing so? Or was that what your hire locals PR was about? So you can see that I just read number 16. What do you say to the people who have signed our petition to boycott Tim Hortons to try to win them back? You know what? We've got to fight these guys because I've just never seen a corporate thuggery like this. We criticize a lot of companies in this country. We tell it straight. We're unvarnished in our language. Sometimes we're tough. And I have never seen a corporate boss say, you know what, let's squash them like a bug. Well, this bug don't squash. At least it don't squash easy. And boy, have they made a bad decision over at Tim Hortons HQ in Buenos Aires. Sorry, not Buenos Aires. I don't mean to slander Argentina. Woo! Sao Paulo, I meant.
Lawsuits.
Yeah. No, the good people of Argentina have nothing to do with this. Tim Hortons is owned by Brazil. I didn't mean to say Buenos Aires. Sheila, what do you think? Do you think this is what happens when the lawyers make the decisions? Because, lawyers love to sue. Lawyers love to rack up the bills. And I think that the guy making the decisions here is a lawyer. He thinks he's going to silence us with legal threats. I don't think so.
I think it's Tim Hortons' management themselves. If you've spent any time on the dark recesses of TikTok or Reddit, like I unfortunately did over the last couple of days, Tim Hortons is responding to our public pressure campaign. And really, our public pressure campaign is just the general sentiment of Canadians, and we're just pointing it at Tim Hortons. But the amount of ads that they are putting out on social media to try to change the narrative about what we all know to be true about Tim Hortons is insane. Yeah. These, like meet our managers, we're hiring, join our team. Like it's everywhere. It's like nothing I've ever seen. And usually they just drape themselves in Canadiana and call it a day.
Yeah.
But
here's one. Turn up the volume. Here's one. This is I don't know if this is a real store, but by the way, Canadians are of every race, religion, and background. They must have gone through every store they have to put together an all-white store for this
ad. They could be actors.
I think they might be crisis actors. They're in a crisis right now, so they're trying to pretend that they're hiring Canadians, and they're trying to pretend they're hiring white Canadians. I say again, I don't care what color you are. In fact, I interviewed 15 people outside of Tim Hortons the other day. Almost every one of them was a new immigrant of every race. And every new immigrant agreed these jobs are for Canadians. So Tim Hortons has this weird racial response. They're having this dog whistle racism in their ad.
Yeah. They don't get that that's not the problem we have with them. Yeah. Like, I don't care where the temporary foreign workers are from. I don't care. I care that they're here unemploying young Canadians. But Tim Hortons is missing the mark because they think that we're seeing this through a color lens instead of a youth unemployment lens.
And their weird response is, we will show you an all-white store.
It's so creepy.
I mean, they are signaling to Diagolon and Second Sons and the KKK or something. Here, take a look at the new KKK ad from Tim Hortons.
Hi, I'm Bill.
Hi, I'm Kim.
Come meet our team.
We've been Tim Hortons restaurant owners for 21 years. When we're hiring team members, we look for people that just love people.
My name is Deb, and I worked at Tim Hortons for 34 years. So I choose to keep coming back to Tim's because of the people, staff, and customers, people I see daily, and the new people that come in the doors every day.
My name is Lauren, and I've worked at Tim Hortons for 5 years. My favorite thing would be the coworkers that you forge relationships as well as the customers.
My name is Stacy, and I've been working for Tim Hortons for almost 40 years. One thing I wish people knew about working at Tim Hortons is the opportunities that we have to offer. You can be multi-trained in every area, every aspect of the business.
I wish people knew about the Tim Hortons Scholarship Program. I had the opportunity to apply and receive it in 2025 and put it towards my university studies.
If I could give one piece of advice, it would be, don't let the nerves get to you and just take it one day at a time.
Welcome to Tim's.
Hi, I'm Bill.
Hi, I'm...
Yeah.
Okay, Bill.
There are 90 Tim Hortons stores right now, as we speak, hiring foreign workers to displace Canadians. And that is KKK propaganda. I got nothing against white people. I'm white myself. I like Canadians of every color. That is a damnable lie. When Tim Hortons refuses to say they're going to hire Canadians, they are not saying they're going to hire Canadians. They say they're going to hire locals. And put that on the screen right now. Literally right now, Olivia just checked. Right now, this second as we speak, 85 of their stores are hiring foreigners. And by the way, I don't care if they're hiring white foreigners, which I don't even think they do, or black or brown. It's not that. It's why are you hiring foreign indentured workers And why are you not hiring Canadian kids? I remember when I was 14 years old, I got my first job working in a fast food restaurant with other young kids. It was super fun. I made a tiny bit of money, but more importantly, I learned how to work.
Yeah, my first job was a bingo cart. That's when I found my love of nicotine as a non-smoker.
Sheila, I think Tim Hortons are some of the worst people in the country. And they say a fish rots from the head down. If this is their leadership, litigious,
thin-skinned.
Thin-skinned cry bullies who, I don't understand the racialism of that ad. You're saying that online they're trying to imply that criticism is racist, and then they go with that ad. Very, very weird. I'm not motivated by race. I'm motivated by the fact that I think Tim Hortons are a pack of liars, and they have this terror that Dunkin' Donuts is coming to town, so they're trying to rebrand, but they don't actually want to change their labor structure. They just want to pretend they're changing their labor structure, and they're suing us because we're the only journalists talking about it. You better lawyer up, guys, because we're going to fight you every inch of the way. If you want to help us fight back, go to timsboycott.com. Sheila, I'm mad at these guys. They're trying to destroy our company by getting us knocked out of Shopify. We're not trying to destroy their company, although I really wouldn't care if it was destroyed. We're trying to get them to stop hiring foreigners. I think that would actually save their company. If they hired Canadians, I mean...
And just stop lying.
Yeah.
Like, quit lying to Canadians.
You know, if they hired all Canadians of every race and had that as their slogan, we only hire Canadians, people would drive across town for their donuts and coffee. And I would end my 11-year boycott of Tim. If they literally, truly only hired Canadians, they'd have a lineup. You know, there's a burger joint between... east of Toronto, I forget exactly where, on the highway. It's called Weber's.
Yep.
And they only hire Canadians. And the burgers are pretty good, but it's just so amazing to have Canadians working there. There is a lineup. It's along the highway. People from Ontario probably know it.
Yep.
And hiring Canadians is absolutely a key part of that. So yeah, actually, if they were to take our advice, I think they'd be a lot stronger. Anyhow, the big news that I wanted to share with you is they're trying to sue us. They're trying to get us nuked out of Shopify. They will not succeed. They're trying to have a lawfare campaign against us. They will not succeed. They're trying to stop us from asking our questions. They will not succeed. They're trying to stop us from selling our shirts. I think they might actually make us, spur us to make better shirts that are more critical. And I think that'll be a very exciting thing. And I am going to send a shirt, men's large, to the VP Legal at Tim's because he didn't write back to me with what size he's at, I assume. Do you have that letter? Do you have that email, Olivia? Yeah, do you want to put it? I want to show that I'm not just kidding. Like some people say, are you serious, Ezra?
Oh, yeah.
Did you really get a threat letter from them? Yeah, that's why I read the Shopify. Not this one, my response where I offer him a large shirt.
Was very friendly, actually.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'm friendly.
I think you're mostly friendly.
I think
even
so.
when you're feisty.
Mostly friendly.
Yeah, mostly. And look, here's the thing. We're made for fighting. So give us a fight. And we'll fight it and we'll do our best to win it. I've already, as we were talking here, Ezra, sent you 2 marketing ideas about how we can fight back. So when you're done this, check your phone. I've got 2 ideas for products, anti-Tim Hortons products, where we offer not just a fight, but a solution to the problem.
You know, Sheila, you're always thinking. And
Thank
I look forward to reading those. Here's my letter. You can see I sent this. So the subject line is T-shirt size. So couldn't be friendly. Hi, John. How friendly was that? Ezra. I'm on a first-name basis. P.S.
For generations, many Canadians have preserved more than just firearms.
Many of our men and women
They've
clad in
preserved
uniform.
history, tradition, competition, memories. But under Trudeau, and now Carney, heirlooms, estates, collectibles, and competition firearms now have to be surrendered and destroyed. While violent gun criminals get pass after pass, openly ignoring any legislation, lawful gun owners are trapped in an increasingly unfair legal system. But we can help. Canada's National Firearms Association's Save Firearms program offers the legal pathway to preserve what matters, while we work towards a political solution. Don't let yours be next. Save history, save heritage, save firearms. Visit nfa.ca today to learn more.
We have a limited store drop for you featuring Tim Hortons merchandise. If you want to sport some sassy swag out in the wild, head on over to rebelnewsstore.com and check out what we have to offer there. You can also use the QR code to save a certain percentage off of your total purchase, so don't miss that discounted offer. Limited time only, so get it while you can at therebelnewsstore.com.
Well, Sheila, my mic went dead, and for a second, I thought
my
Tim Hortons
earpiece.
had done it. I thought the bad guys did it. Let me just finish reading the letter I wrote to their VP Legal.
Sure.
I said, what's your T-shirt size? I assume a men's large. Cheers, Ezra. That's me. And then I said, P.S. Do Popeyes, Burger King, and Firehouse also hire foreign nationals? Is there a media contact I can speak with about that? Because I learned that Tim Hortons actually owns those other brands too. And are they bringing in foreign workers too? Inquiring minds want to know, but I haven't heard back from John.
And are we banned from those places too?
Yeah, I mean,
I guess I'll find out.
yeah, we'll find out. Sheila, look, all our questions are in the public interest. They're
Yep.
genuine questions about immigration policy, labor policy, youth unemployment policy, and nationalism. And also, frankly, false advertising. Here you have a brand that tried to make themselves as Canadian as hockey, named after a hockey star, literally incorporated the maple leaf in their logo. And for a long time, it was the essential Canadian store. But then they thought, now that we have that reputation, let's cut corners. Let's bring in cheap foreign laborers and not hire Canadians because they don't want to work. They lied. And then their reputation fell and fell and fell and fell. But what are you going to do? Where are you going to go? There's no big chain out there. They've devoured them all. Oh, now here comes Dunkin' Donuts, promising to open up, 700 stores? So suddenly Tim Hortons is panicking. But instead of actually changing their policy, they're just changing their PR. And that's why they want to shut us up by hook or by crook. Sheila, all I can say to Tim Hortons is I hope their lawyers are smarter than their executives. Otherwise, they're going to lose bad. Last word to you.
I'm ready. Let's rumble. Let's have the big coffee war of 2026. As I said, we're made for fighting. We are not going to be silent. We're not going to stop our journalism. We're not going to stop our criticism of this company. And, if they think that our thin criticism of them was something that they should sue over, just wait till they see what we do next.
Yeah. 3 things you can do to help. Number 1, go to timsboycott.com, sign our petition. Number 2, get a copy of the shirt before they
Before it's gone from Shopify. Yeah.
That's right. And then step
Lieutenant.
3, help chip in if you can at timsboycott.com because we got a lawyer up. I spoke to the lawyer today. We got to have a response to Shopify within 48 hours, and I assure you we will. And I don't know. I wonder if Tim Hortons is going to continue to abuse police. I mean, are they literally dialing 911? Because, I mean, how else are you getting 3 police cars showing up so quickly? I've never seen it that quick. Sheila, I'm going to run it, and I'm sorry to have crashed your party
okay.
for the last 40 minutes, but I just had to tell the world what was going on. I'll probably do my show on it tonight also.
Yes. I look forward to this fight. And by the way, if people want a discount on those shirts, get them while they're there because they might be gone. Who knows? But Sheila10 is my coupon code on the store at rebelnewsstore.com.
Thanks, Sheila. See you later.
Yeah. See you, boss.
Bye.
Okie doke. Let's get on with the show. For those of you who want to get involved in the show, you're watching us on Rumble, great free speech platform. If you want to pitch in a little bit, you can leave a Rumble rant. That's our page chat over there. If it's over the $5 US cutoff, I'll read it on air. Olivia, let me know if we can go a little long today because we've got a lot to talk about. We gave Ezra 41 minutes and, you know, it's his company, so we can do that. If you're watching us on YouTube, same rules apply. Their paid chat is called a super chat, and there is an option to leave a paid comment if you miss the live version of the show, and it's called a super thanks. We ask you for this because we will never take any money from the government to do the work that we do around here, because really our criticism of Tim Hortons is simultaneously a criticism of the government's immigration policy around importing a slave underclass, which drives down wages and drives up the cost of everything else. So, all right, let's get into the other news that happened over the weekend that also involved the Rebel News team and the Rebel News billboard truck, and that was the Walk for Israel, or the Walk with Israel. I think it is the single largest show of support for Israel in the country every single year. I think approximately 60,000 people, Jewish people and their friends and allies, took to the streets of Toronto. And you know what that means? The bad guys also showed up too. I think there's some better drone footage of the Walk with Israel that we could dig up. Harley Finkelstein maybe has it on his X account. But anyways, pro-Hamas demonstrators showed up to confront participants of Toronto's Walk with Israel. And Ezra was there to challenge them to their faces. Ezra's had a very exciting 36 hours.
They're shouting, move, move, move. The horses are here. The horses have deployed. There's now a barrier of horses between the protesters and the march. The horses are withdrawing. The horses are going away.
Everybody roll down. We want to give you a reminder that this is public property.
That's him. That's him. I see Officer McDuff, who had me arrested last time I was doing journalism from here. Let's hope it doesn't happen a second time. Have a couple of pro-Hamas protesters just sitting down. Looks like the police are going to move them. I'll have more reports later today. Right there, who had me arrested when I was doing journalism.
It's so weird that the Liberals just can't figure out what's causing the rise in anti-Semitism in this country. Could it be importing people from undesirable parts of the world where they actually teach in schools to kill the Jew? Where they have, instead of having Christmas pageants or whatever, they have these little performative plays for 5-year-olds where they show themselves practicing killing Jewish people, and then we bring them all here en masse. This is a better photo of the sheer volume of people showing support for Canada's Jewish community and the free and democratic state of Israel, where you can be Muslim and sit in the Knesset, which is their parliament there. We got an arrest, or was she arrested? I don't know. I'll have to look. I have on my notes, I wrote it up for the website earlier. 6 people were arrested yesterday at the Walk with Israel. I'll bring that up out of the corner of my eye in a second. Of course, none of them participants in the walk, but all the bad guys who are in support of Hamas. We've got Rasha Zaid. She's actually running for councillor in Windsor. And this was her, totally normal person, not crazy at all, turning up at the Walk with Israel. Where's my, I think we might have published it. Did we publish it? We've got 6 arrests at the walk with Israel, or tickets. 35-year-old John Eusebio of Toronto was charged with assaulting a peace officer for refusing to clear the route, and then he spit on the officers, which is revolting. During a confrontation, he's in court August 12th. I hope it was worth it. Police also charged 6-year-old Gada Hamouda of Toronto with obstructing a peace officer. She left the designated protest area where the police horses had everybody cordoned off. She entered the walk route and refused multiple directions to return to the approved demonstration zone. A similar charge was laid against 39-year-old Diana Bosco of Toronto. She attempted to provoke participants in the walk and ignored repeated lawful orders to leave the route. 40-year-old Ali Reza Hojati of Richmond Hill became involved in a verbal dispute with the protester and spat at the individual and their sign. He was charged with assault. And then another woman was arrested for breach of the peace after allegedly displaying anti-Israel signage and engaging in conduct that officers say inflamed tensions between demonstrators and event participants. She was released without charges after being detained. And another person in a similar incident was flying a drone, and he was ticketed under the Canadian aviation regulation. So maybe we were looking at his drone footage, his illegal drone footage. But yeah, I wonder if the Liberals could stop and really just give some thought to why those lunatics show up to harass Toronto's Jewish community over and over and over and over again. I don't know where we're going to go. Maybe we should stay on the immigration topic. Got a couple of things on the immigration front here. This one's from Michelle Rempel-Garner. She's the Conservative Party's immigration critic. She's also an economist, so she really has a good grasp of how Canada's out-of-control immigration system is hurting the economy, hurting Canadian youth. Like 20% of kids aged 15 to 19 who want a job can't get a job. Thank you, Tim Hortons. And there's another pathway that these people are getting into the country and then applying for residency, and that is becoming a temporary foreign student. And I'll show the clip from Vincent Neil Ho. It's not on the list, but I clipped it, like literally hit send before I jumped on the call right now, where he goes through how the lobbyists are getting this done for the universities, because universities can charge more for foreign students. So why would you take a Canadian student if you can make more money taking a foreign student? But Michelle Rempel-Garner was just given it to, and I'll clip more of this. If you follow me on X, you'll see it later. She was given it to federal immigration officials who said that the Liberals are planning a new taxpayer-funded international advertising campaign to bring more foreign students into the country. And I should remind you that foreign students are also allowed to work. I think they can work 30 hours, and Restaurants Canada or Tim Hortons, I can't remember which one, lobbied the federal government to increase that amount, so that not only are these people coming into our country and taking up spaces in our university systems that should be taken by Canadians first, but then they're also working, which are taking jobs from Canadian youth. And the immigration officials are advertising this abroad. The Canadian government is advertising this abroad. It's unbelievable. Let's watch this clip from Rempel.
We're also preparing to launch a targeted advertising campaign for internationally, so that people are aware of what's available in Canada, and there can be those closer links to the great life here, the opportunities here, and links into employers as well.
Did you get that? Links right into employers. So We're advertising them. We're telling them how great Canada is. Come to Canada, get in our education system, and then also work. So Canadian students are being screwed twice. It's not like they're getting them once, they're getting it coming and going. And the Canadian government is promoting this abroad, inviting people. So out of the one side of their mouth, they're saying, oh, we're dealing with the youth unemployment crisis. How? You're inviting people to come here, steal their spot in university, and then steal their part-time job. Oh, and when they graduate university, there's also no job waiting for them either, because we're bringing in all these tech workers. Won't someone think of the Canadian youth? Like someone? Could someone? Olivia, I put that clip from Vincent Neil Ho in the chat. It wasn't on the list, but it's from the same committee. And he is just given an immigration lobbyist, a university lobbyist, the absolute business, because he's pointing out that, like, you lobbied the government hundreds of times to bring in foreign students. Don't you care how this affects Canadian youth?
Thank you, Madam Chair. My questions are for representatives at U15, Mr. Hammond. What you left out in your opening remarks is that U15 is a registered lobbyist and a prolific lobby group that represents the interests of the ever-expanding and bloated university bureaucracy. So your organization had lobbied the federal government 936 times in the last 14 years, averaging 66 times per year. So in a press release, U15 welcomed the exemption of foreign masters and PhD students from the 2026 Liberal so-called study permit cap as a, quote, important step, and said it was, quote, vital. But when you put an exemption to a cap, then it's not a cap at all. What the Liberals have ultimately done after you lobbied them is create this backdoor in letting in unlimited numbers of foreign international students. So why did U15 push for a broad exemption for a cap on foreign graduate students rather than a narrower policy targeted only to verified labor shortages or critical research fields?
Thank you for the question, Madam Chair. Firstly, I want to just start by emphasizing that our universities are absolutely committed to creating opportunities for all Canadians. As I said in my opening remarks there, a degree from U15 University remains one of the best guarantees of opportunities for any Canadian that pursues education at a U15 University. But at the same time, as we know, advanced talent is highly mobile. The competitive nature of attracting that talent is very hard.
I find it really hard to believe the words that are coming out of your mouth right now, that you're advocating for Canadian students. You're on the immigration committee right now. You lobbied the federal government 936 times. You met with IRCC officials. How is talking to the immigration department of the federal government advocating for Canadian students? How does immigration policy affect? Maybe if you want to talk to the science committee, maybe if you want to talk to the National Research Council advocating for more research funds, that's understandable. But how does advocating on the immigration committee advance the interest of Canadian students?
Thank you for the question, Madam Chair. Graduate students, especially doctoral students, make a massive contribution to Canada's research capacity, to the innovation capacity in this country. They work in labs with Canadian researchers. They support Canadian research projects. They contribute to discoveries and innovations that help grow the Canadian economy and create opportunities for all Canadians. We felt that that exemption was important because it recognizes that graduate students play a crucial role that goes well beyond their own teaching and learning experience, but contribute to the wider research ecosystem in Canada.
The back door, you call it an exemption, it's really a back door. The U15 and its members had access to senior IRCC officials during the 2026 Liberal policy development of a back door to unlimited international students. So my question is, how many meetings did U15 hold with organizations representing unemployed Canadian youth, underemployed graduates, or Canadian students competing for research opportunities during that same time period?
Thank you for the question. We heard often from student union groups. We engage closely with graduate students who are working at Canadian universities, and we remain committed to ensuring, like I said, that U15 universities support opportunities for all Canadians that go through our universities.
So do you represent on that note, do you represent students, or do you represent the university bureaucracies that are ever heavily expanding.
U15 Canada represents Canada's leading research universities, which help drive the innovation ecosystem beyond just the work that happens on campus. I think it's also important to note that graduate students help perform federally funded research grants. They help work closely with Canadian businesses and industry that are looking to drive innovation.
You don't represent the students.
U15 Canada is an association of Canada's leading research universities.
Okay, yeah. Now, that's what I thought. I mean, I look at your About Us page on your website. Nowhere does it mention students. Like, the word student isn't even mentioned. So U15 says this liberal backdoor exemption to unlimited foreign students helped Canada attract the, quote, world's best and brightest. So, but your member universities also charge international students much higher tuition than domestic students. How do you respond to the criticism that this lobbying was so much about protecting university revenue as it is about attracting talent?
There it is.
As I said, graduate students directly contribute to research projects that Canadian researchers, Canadian faculty are engaged in. They form innovation partnerships. They help with the training of other highly qualified personnel. So allowing graduate students to enter Canada is really about creating a sort of a global pool of knowledge here in Canada that will help create opportunities
okay, so let me
for
ask
all
you,
Canadians.
On that point, let me ask you honestly, can most Canadian universities survive without international students? Yes or no?
I can't speak to that question. I only represent the U15 leading research universities here in Canada. And as I mentioned, our mandate is focused on the research capacity of our universities and beyond that, the research ecosystem in Canada. And as I mentioned, the role that graduate students play is really vital.
I think that's good, Olivia. So there you have it. Vincent Neil Ho cut right through the BS. He said, you're not representing students. That foreign students are charged at a greater rate to attend university than Canadian students. You're lobbying the government for more foreign students, unlimited amounts of foreign students, which means that you could have a university that didn't have a single Canadian in it, and that would be within the rules. And the universities are incentivized because they make more money because they have these people, and then they get to work. I've testified at committee, as many of you know, but like, you have to know your stuff. You have to be ready for every question. He just kept his head down reading his talking points the whole time. Everything he said there was prepared, and he didn't answer a single question, really, truly, that Vincent Neil Ho asked. And also, keep your eyes on Vincent Neil Ho. He's a very bright, up-and-coming young conservative. This new batch of them are very sharp, very, very sharp. Olivia, I know that Charlie Angus was saying some crazy things this morning, but that is just Charlie Angus's general disposition, but it was on Alberta Independence. Let's save that for tomorrow. I'll go through that with Lise because it'll really make her mad. So let's just save that for tomorrow because she'll get real animated. Let's go up to Corey Teneke. I don't actually care how you say his name. He is a key, or was a key Doug Ford advisor. He's been around the conservative movement for a very long time. Rubicon Strategies, I think, is his company, his consulting firm. Just so you know, he's from the conservative consultant class, so he's smarter and better than the rest of us. Just ask him. And he's got some advice for Pierre Poilievre about how to talk about the series of crises facing Canadians. Let's watch.
I do think you have to lay some, plant some seeds. But I also largely agree with Scott that the seeds they're planting are the wrong ones in terms of tone. I think you want to be pointing this stuff out, but with like sadness and regret, with a solemn tone, and put the focus on delivering results. Where I think that's where the Carney government is going to be, to Tom's point, more vulnerable over time if they don't actually get the resource projects done. Those sorts of things. I think that's a better vector of attack, because I think the one that they're on right now looks like Poilievre is applying to be a-hole in chief, and I just don't think that's the way to get more popular with the public. It doesn't improve your favorabilities to look like a jerk all the time, and I think he's at risk of doing that.
I saw somebody I follow on X post saying, with friends like these, who needs enemies? If you are giving a conservative advice and you see Scott Reid who is like a horrible, venomous liberal advisor, and Thomas Mulcair, former leader of the NDP, nodding along in unison and agreeing with you. It's probably not the advice the leader of the opposition should listen to. I don't want to see Pierre Poilievre sad and full of regret. And he said, sadness and regret. We should be talking about what's happening in the economy with sadness and regret. The Conservatives don't have anything to regret about the economy. They didn't do it. The Liberals did. They should be the ones coming with their tail between their legs, full of sadness and regret, and promising to do something different. I want the Conservatives to be feisty and fighty, outraged, indignant, righteously indignant because of what the Liberals are doing to the economy. I don't want just some sad hound dog of a man telling me how bad everything is in the economy. We already know. We're living it. Well, maybe Corey Tenike isn't, but the rest of us are. Scott Reid definitely isn't. Thomas Mulcair, he's not experiencing this. Vashi Kapelos over at CTV, she's not living with this the way the rest of us are. I want the Conservatives to come in like raring to fix this, be an energetic alternative to what the Liberals have done. So if the Conservatives are out there listening, please don't listen to Corey Tenike. Just whatever you do. He's the guy behind Doug Ford's plan to sabotage the last Conservative election campaign. Why on earth would the Conservatives now look at Corey Tenike as a key advisor? Why would they listen to any of his advice? He was the guy behind Doug Ford's anti-Poilievre campaign, which cost at least some seats in the GTA. Like, why would you listen to that guy? He sabotaged your last campaign. He's continuing to sabotage it if you listen to him. I think the Conservatives are smart enough to disregard anything that Corey Tenike says about any sort of federal campaign or federal messaging strategy. I think so. God, I hope they are. Last couple of things before we wrap the show. Mark Carney is talking about the elimination of the consumer carbon tax and temporary gas and diesel excise tax relief, saying it's going to save Canadians about 28 cents a liter. Let's watch.
The government cut taxes for 22 million Canadians on their incomes. We cut the consumer carbon tax. We removed for a period the excise tax on gas and diesel. So the combination of those last two, it's about 28 cents off of the price of filling up per liter, filling up your car. The government.
Okay, wow. For the longest time, the Liberals have said all these taxes, they're given to you on the other side. And so they really don't actually cost you anything. And they don't drive up inflation. They don't drive up the cost of everything. In the meantime, everybody else, including our friends over at the CTF, have said, if you like, and this should be just common sense, but these people are politicians, so don't assume that they have it. If you make things cost more, they cost more. And then people who are making the same salary as they did before you made things cost more have less money left at the end of the day to do things with, like save or pay bills even. And this is the Liberals. Again, this is the Liberals, like an arsonist, showing up at the scene of the fire with a bucket of water saying, aren't you glad I helped? You did this. You did this. There never should have been these taxes to begin with. Now you're like, you want accolades because you temporarily removed them to deal with the cost of living crisis. Keep them off and quit taxing things that people need to stay alive. And then also, when you drive up the cost of everything, don't ask for applause from the public when you have to give them grocery rebates. Actually, it's not really a grocery rebate. What the Liberals did very recently is they rebranded the GST rebate for Canadians under a certain income. They rebranded it as a grocery support payment. If things are so bad that the federal government needs to give you assistance for food. That's a bad thing. No one should applaud you for that. It's like how they want to hammer the Conservatives for not supporting their national food program. And it's like, if you are running a country so poorly that you need a national food program, maybe you're not doing a good job. Maybe you shouldn't be in charge anymore. If Canadians need help with groceries, and I'm not talking about like low income Canadians. I'm talking about middle income Canadians needing help with groceries. You have a problem, and giving people back their own money isn't a solution, and it's not sustainable. You have to deal with everything else. You have to make it easier for people to produce food. Hello, farmer here. You have to make it easier for people to transport food. You have to make it easier for people to go to work, cheaper for people to go to work. You have to get out of the way of their jobs in the oil and gas sector because of all the spin-off that creates. It's actually not hard to, oh, and don't get me started on immigration, right? It's actually not hard to stop doing all the bad things you're doing. You just have to stop doing them. But they're so ideologically driven, they just won't. And that would also mean admitting that you're wrong. And, you know, that doesn't happen with these liberals either. All right, let's talk about Carney's carbon footprint. I did a little bit last week with my friend Chris Sims from the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. But there's an account on X that tracks Carney's carbon footprint. And as you know, Carney is the man who wrote values, as in green values, as in we will rewrite the economy so that it's green. And by green, he means whatever the color of poverty is for the rest of us. And he's got enough money to, every time he takes a flight, if he wants to plant the tree somewhere to offset his carbon footprint, he can do it. The rest of us can't afford that. So last week, Mark Carney flew his private jet to Toronto so he could tour a grocery store in Brampton. It appears that neither him nor his wife have ever been to an actual grocery store before. We'll show that clip. He burned roughly 25,000 liters of jet fuel and emitted more than 5,000 kg of carbon for his trip. He could have had somebody drive him. You know, like, a lot of the times the politicians are like, you know, my time is valuable, so I don't want to spend too much time driving. So get someone to drive you, and then you can work the whole way or whatever. But that's crazy to tell me that my comfortable SUV and safe SUV is going to spell climate doom and gloom, that we have to cancel our summer road trips because of climate change. We had a Liberal MP say that in the House of Commons. But Mark Carney will circumvent a 3.5-hour road trip from one way, I should say, from Ottawa to Toronto, and burn 5,000 kgs of carbon on the trip, 2,500 liters of jet fuel. Let's watch his trip to the grocery store, because it has strong how do you do fellow humans vibes. This is fruit. That's how I feel when I'm like, when I go to the zoo and I like the gorillas. I know that they can maul you in a second and they're not humans, but I kind of like to watch the gorillas a little bit. Also raccoons. That's how, see how Diana Carney is? That's me pointing at a gorilla. Like, I never hardly see them. I don't understand them. They frighten me a little bit. That's her with a corn of, like a cob of corn or whatever that is. What does she point at? I think it's maybe a lemon. Like, it's, look at her. Wow, what is that there? What do you do with that? Like, a couple of weirdos, you know. Do you think that those two have ever been to the No Frills? Like, honestly, what a couple of reptilians. They just, they're like aliens wearing skin suits. Weirdos. All right, we've gone over a little bit. We let Ezra get his news out of his system. I don't think we have any chats today. Oh, we've got one message from our friends at Rumble Wallets. Do you guys have any chats out there you want to get in before the end of the show? I'm going to read this Rumble Wallet ad, and then I'm going to move on to my next of many, many tasks here at Rebel News. We hear a lot about crypto. We do. I do. I don't know much about it. I want someone to talk to me like I'm 5 years old about crypto, and then maybe I'll get it. But here's the part most people miss. Crypto was created so you actually own and control your money. After the 2008 financial crisis, Bitcoin was designed as an alternative to banks. So instead of a bank holding your money, delaying transfers, or limiting access, you're in control. And if you've ever had to wait for a transfer to clear, you've felt that problem. Now, fast forward to today, everyone's heard of crypto, but getting started still feels complicated. That is an understatement. That's exactly why I use Rumble Wallet. It takes all that complexity and makes it simple. Choose what you want: Bitcoin, dollar-backed stablecoins, or even digital gold backed by real gold. No complicated setup. It connects with MoonPay, so you can use your credit card, debit card, or bank and be up and running in minutes. And I should tell you, I own crypto. I just don't understand it at all. Once you're set up, you can even support your favorite Rumble creators like me directly. So do this now. Scan the QR code, click the link in the description, and download Rumble Wallet. From there, you can set up your wallet, tap buy, and you're in the game. Just like me, actually. Just in a few minutes, you can go from hearing about crypto to actually owning some. All right. Olivia, do we have any chats? Or are people just busy buying shirts before Tim Hortons takes them out of the store? Okay, that's great. Thanks to everybody for bearing with us today. Today was a very unexpected show. I really just saw the email from Ezra out of the corner of my eye, and I didn't really understand what was going on. And then it was like, Ezra's going to jump on the show and brief everybody about what was going on. And I thought, great, I need that briefing too. But we are ready to fight back. I'm ready to fight back. Ezra, I should report back to you, loves my little ideas. And so I think you're going to love them too. You can sign our petition at timsboycott.com. You can get the shirt that prompted a lawsuit from, I guess, a Brazilian hedge fund operating in Canada, multiple locations of Tim Hortons and a bunch of other restaurants. At rebelnewsstore.com. I think the coupon code Sheila10 is active. So if you want to save 10% off your order, please do that. And also continue boycotting them. Don't just sign the petition. Don't go there. Think about the kids. I know I sound like Reverend Lovejoy's wife from Simpsons, but yeah, think about the kids. Like, they are unemploying a generation of Canada's youth, and I don't want to be a part of it. It was just like the vaccine passport system. Don't participate in it. Do not be a cog in the machine that is ruining everything. Just disconnect yourself from it. Be a McDonald's man like David Menzies. Yes, and we are probably going to need some help fighting a Brazilian hedge fund in court for the right to criticize them. So stay tuned for our new call to action on the Tim's Boycott campaign. That's the show for today, guys. Back in the chair tomorrow with Lise, and we'll talk about the things we didn't get to today. Olivia, thanks for moving quickly when Ezra's mic cut out. I thought it was me. I was like, did my earpiece go down? No, it was Ezra's mic, but anyway, he got it out of his system. We'll see you back tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing our content and engaging with it. That's a free thing that you can do to help us. And as we say on the show here, if you find us offensive, maybe don't find us at all.
We caught Tim Hortons in a whopper of a lie. They said several days ago they're hiring Canadians again, but they're not. They're still exploiting the temporary foreign worker program. And now they're getting belligerent. Earlier today, they called the cops on my colleague just for showing up on a sidewalk reporting about this scam. Unbelievable. You know what, folks? We want you to wear your anger literally on your shirt sleeves. Please go to boycotttims.ca. That's boycotttims.ca. We have some limited edition merchandise regarding Tim Hortons. And guess what? We got a special deal for you. When you get onto that website, use the code HIGHERCanadians. That's HIGHERCanadians, and you will get a 10% discount. But hurry, this